anybody who want to be in any public speaking contest or want to go on stage and speak, never eat paranthas before that because you will be burping and that is going to make your life very, very difficult. So I think again,
You didn't
we knew
clarify
it,
what a
but I
paratha
realized
is. If people are watching from all around the world, not just from India, then you need to tell what a paratha is.
okay. I realized that everybody needs a new way or a new pattern of, you know, doing it. So when I started reading about it, I realized telling is not coaching, counseling is not coaching, consulting is not coaching. Then what is coaching?
Right. Hi, Sandeep.
Hello, Rama. How are you doing?
Doing great. So we are just doing this fun chat here uh, to understand your journey so far. And I know we knew each other for a while, but in the last few months or so, you're been so eager about making a mark in public speaking, and you want to compete and you want to grow in that area. So we'll chat a bit about that. But before that, I want you to introduce yourself and share uh, anything fun about yourself. So for the audience and public speaking community,
Okay,
the stage is
great.
yours.
First of all, thanks, Rama, for this opportunity. And it's really awesome to be together and discuss few ideas and thoughts and what's going around in our part of the world. To introduce myself, so my name is Sandeep, and it's been around 20 years that I have been working. Currently, I work with a US-based ID company, consulting company, and the major part of my role, I believe, is about communication. As far as I like to describe myself, I'm a very simple person. I find myself going through the routine and discipline, an avid reader and a Toastmaster. And the philosophy of my life is work and play are same for me. I think that's one thing that has shaped me over the years. As far as my education is concerned, I completed my PhD, the doctoral program in management recently, and the topic has been our favorite leadership communication in IT industry. Apart from that, the vocation that I enjoy the most, where I have in a calling, is career counseling for school students and young graduates. So I often go to schools to deliver talk on early career planning, and of course, going to the universities to speak on various topics, helping students bridge that industry institute interface. As far as my family is concerned, I'm married for the last 20 years and blessed with two daughters, Neha and Nandani. So they are the charm of my life. Yeah, that's what it is all about. Yeah,
Thanks, Sandeep. Um, so what's your big goal in life, Sandeep?
yeah,
Um,
I think this is a very interesting question, and over the years, this has been coming to me every now and then. But I remember in the year 1998, when I was pursuing my graduation, I happened to visit one of the finest library in the country at Kurukshetra University. And there I happened to read a small piece of work, of complete works of Swami Vivekananda. And that's where my mission for life gone drawn. It is like be and make. So I want to be someone and want to help people in and around me do so. So over the years, I've been fortunate enough the kind of roles, the work that I do is in that direction. So that's the mission that I have. And the goal that I have set for myself for the next 5 years is very clear. I want to be amongst the first 1% of globally professionally paid speakers. And the means through that is the 5 attempts on World Public Speaking Championship organized by Toastmasters.
wow.
So that's the foremost goal that is in my mind, and I'm enjoying the journey. Yeah, we just started, but yeah, it's there. Hope
Awesome.
that answers.
Oh yeah, I think any goal that is clear, practical, and something that we can see clearly is a good goal, right? That's awesome, and I'm happy that you are very clear with that. And just curious, you from what you described and what I know, you were already well accomplished. You have been in the communication area and you are leading an organization in that particular area. Why would you opt for personal coaching?
Oh, yeah. So I think that's a revolution for me itself in 2023. For me, over the years, coaching was like a skill that you have. It's like I wouldn't even say must have kind of a skill. I will say it's a good to have a skill if you coach. That was what I used to think. But then somehow my mind shift on coaching changed, and now it is like coaching is like a superpower that you have, and with that you can unleash something great in within you, and of course people in and around you, whether it is your family or your friends or team members whom you work or your peers. And I realize that everybody needs a new way or a new pattern of doing it. So when I started reading about it, I realized telling is not coaching, counseling is not coaching, consulting is not coaching. Then what is coaching? But then the question came to my mind when I was meditating one day. Am I really coachable? Yeah, I have people around me to help, but am I listening to them? And that's when I decided that, okay, let's see what exactly happens when you have a coach. And a very interesting or a life-changing experience happened when I started learning meditation with deep intensity. Then the guru arrived, right? And I started doing it little more consciously. And then that, oh, 20 years I've been doing this, but hardly I could make any difference. But if you know the technique and you learn it from the best, you know, it will just catapult. And that's when I enrolled myself for a public speaking coach, and we had the relationship and knew who to go to. And similarly, then I went also to the gym and personally invested in having a personal trainer. And I can tell you what I have not been able to achieve, many things that were on paper, just lying and coming in front of me and adding a little bit of a pressure and a guilt. I think those things have gone off because there is somebody who's there to guide you, be with you, and make that happen. And one thing more, choosing a coach is also very important. That's what I realize. Of course, you have to balance out between how much you can invest in terms of time, effort, and commercials. But then it's something like if you have a coach who has been there and done that, I think the game is very different the way you play it. And that's the reason I got in, and I think I've made one of the best decisions um, to move forward from here.
I'll come to the question about the win you recently had, but let's start from basics, right? The hard parts, the expectations that you had, where it did it meet? How has been the journey after you started personal coaching?
So I mean, it's been phenomenal right now, and it's a very natural phenomenon. When you start something, you have enthusiasm, you are looking forward to it. That's the only thing on your mind, and things fall in place, right? And I think the same happened for me as well. At the same time, the somebody around you who knows the way, can show you the way, and take you along. I think that gives you a lot of reassurance. Oh, come on, you can do it. It's there. We will reach there. And to be very honest, when it started in the beginning, it was so much on the mind. I have to ask this, we have to do this, and then you have your own ways of doing things, and then you have certain habits which you think are absolutely right. So instead of even learning new, you have to unlearn so many things to create a space for yourself. I think that was the most biggest challenge, you know, eager to do on your own things and adding your flavor and customizing it rather than just listening to your coach and doing what is expected of you to do. I think that was the foremost which I found which really alters you, amends you. I think that was one. Apart from your wife, there is somebody else also who can do that. So that was one good. The second is you know things, but then you realize things is what the coach does to you. Because we keep reading, we keep meeting, we keep talking, we know it, right? But then the realization. So let me give you an example. Say when we had the first participation in the humor speech contest, right? I knew it that we need to start in advance. We need to have a script and prepare it well, practice it, and all that. But then, how often one is able to do it? Right? In my case, it hasn't happened. Right? In 2015 to 17, I had one stint with the Toastmasters. So you're running, and in the while you are driving, you're just trying to memorize the script and all that. Let you take to the next level, right? But when I came to you, I was in the same state. Nothing has changed in the last 7 years. But today, when we start, you listened to me. Okay, what is that you want to do? Why you want to do? Where is it coming from? Okay, and then when we started with something which was like eat the frog. Humor in public speaking, oh, one of the toughest skill. People will just keep saying it. The only thing that we hear about is I can do anything, but humor is not my cup of tea. And it was my situation. But then we started small. We took baby steps. We created our first so-called behind the wheels speech. And when I went in to deliver, I think after a long time, I have that moment in that auditorium in front of very warm and participative audience. I could really feel that I was able to do justice to what we did in the last 4 weeks. Yeah, I didn't win the contest. That's fine, but had a I had the face head held high, because whatever we tried to came and do it as a team, and when we were able to do it, right? And the interesting thing happened that after that, I was invited to four other clubs as a test speaker. So if you won, you get only one chance. If you lose, you get four chances to speak. And then there is no pressure, right? Every time I go, I do the speech, I use the script, I do a little bit of it, and then you get a lot of evaluation, feedback, and then you improvise, then you go next and next and next. So in the whole journey, we improve. So I think this is one such example that you know a thing and you realize a thing. I think that's the biggest learning that I have so far, and it's going great, especially on the habits part. I think bringing that discipline and making you have somebody who's your accountable partner, and make keep realizing it's not a very pushy thing. It's just a relationship that you have, and whatever you discuss, you try to honor it. And you may not be able. I was not able to do 100% all the time, but then I was at ease. Okay, this is my slot for 30 minutes. I have to do this drill. Okay, let's do that. And kept moving. And I think so far it's working, and I'm very sure it's gonna work. Yeah.
And now coming to the next contest, I know evaluation contest is not the super sexy contest, but and how has been your journey so far in the evaluation contest?
I must say that this is one of the best uh, contests that I have gone through. It's not just because that I have won, but because of the gratification that, yeah, in a very disciplined manner we approached it. So the first thing was the mindset. And being a sports lover, I always believe that when we play, let's play to win. Let's play to win. So on the front foot. But yes, along with it, we also want to learn, because this entire exercise is about that. But the beautiful thing about contest is it just draws you in. If you participate, you just want to win, right? So I'm no different. I want to win, and we have together we have won the first three. So uh, as far as evaluation speech contest is concerned, one of the learnings that I have here is when you tend to see things from outside a lot, right? And over the journey, Rama, you helped me create a framework, right? And we call that framework is to, lens of how do you analyze and do all that, right? So I think that was one most important thing. The second thing is, and I heard it way back, and that again comes from Swami Vivekananda, is that if you want to lift yourself, lift others. The idea of making the other speaker, the target speaker, a better speaker, and doing an honest, constructive, and an encouraging feedback is an art, right? And everybody will have to learn it by choice or by compulsion. So I think in public speaking, that's a must. That's the second thing. And the third thing is the actual adrenaline rush of the contest. I believe that it's just super accelerates your learning, because you are doing in the real time all those things that you have put in your mind. You have to just go there, and it doesn't come out the way you believe. But yes, simulation helps. I think at the end of the day, person who has sweated more on the training grounds, and they are definitely going to be make it. And the same holds for public speaking as well. So I think those are the three things. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The only tip that I would like to give anybody who want to be in any public speaking contest or want to go on stage and speak, never eat paranthas before that, because you will be burping, and that is going to make your life very, very difficult. So I think again,
you need to
we knew
clarify
it,
what a
but I
paratha
realized,
is. If people are watching from all around the world, not just from India, then you need to tell what a paratha is.
okay, oh, it's so it's a bread full of stuffing of, you can put it. And on that day I had this cheese and cheese parantha, right? And it was filled with oil, and then a cup of tea. Oh my God! You almost like I was, and the contest was around 3 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, I need to keep myself, awake.
What is the process you followed when you were training? You touched about, sweating, who the one who sweats a lot in the training grounds makes it. So what's the process you followed?
Yeah, of course, there was a lot of change, and I can cite an analogy to that. I remember when I was in eighth standard, we had a new football coach, and at that time we I used to live in a township, and all our friends were like Maradonas and the Peles of the world. We have never went out. When we went out, we were thrashed 11-0 by another school. So that's a big story that we all friends have. But when the new coach joined in, he didn't allow us to play with our strong leg. for a month in practice, even practice matches. If you score with your strong leg, then it won't be counted. I can tell you, it was horrific. Well, we were all cursing him that what is this game like, right? I think the same thing happened to me personally when I came to the coaching ground. All those things that I have been doing, I realized that, of course, through that particular way, we have to get into it. And the process was very simple. Let's identify what are the top things that we want to do. Most importantly, more than how, when are you going to do it? And putting that slot on the calendar. So before that, it will, beep for 30 minutes before, and then you'll say, oh, I need to go there. And that's where the mind game will start playing. Oh, today should I be doing it? No, I have work. I have to take my kids out and this and that. So your ping pong game will start of how can I say no, not being in that slot. And it went for many days. It didn't come easily because it was a habit that has to be brought in. And I flunked it many times. And when I come to the coaching meeting, a fortnightly meet, and I have hardly done it for 10%. And what do you do with you can't be a winner with 10% or you can't improve with that 10%. But what it actually did was it conditioned my mind that when that 9:30 things come up or 6:30 thing come up or when late night when you have to read for 30 minutes at 10 o'clock alarm rings in, you have to get away from many things that you have been doing, right? And I think that is the process. If we and I remember once Dhoni also said that when asked, how do you handle that pressure? He said that just follow your process and work ethic and don't stare at the goal because you can't do anything about it. The only thing that you have on control is this. So it is taking me still a lot of time, and I'm very sure that the more rigorous on the drills and more disciplined we are on that, we will do that. I would like to talk about two things before the contest day and during the contest and after the contest. I think before the contest, the simulation exercise, and let me give cite an example. So when the draw was drawn in the evaluation speech contest, I was very lucky in the first two because I got a slot to speak at number four, which gives you ample time to just mentally rehearse and do a speech. But in the third round, in the division level, I got the first one. And I think for most of the participants, the mindset is, oh, that kind of a thing. But for me, it was like, yay, because the threat is converted into an opportunity. Reason being because of the drill. So, Rama, with you, the way we have been practicing is you listen to the speech and then you get 5 minutes and then you deliver it impromptu, right? You're not given a time. So there was nothing else. So I had to just go and deliver it. So I think that really helped. So that was before. And during is during, which means the day of the contest. My personally belief is that if I can have my normal day, you wake up and do all your chores and everything, and then contest happens to you, like you are going to work. I think that is the best, but it takes a lot to control those nerves and everything. I think meditation has really helped me to calm my nerves a lot and be in that moment to deliver. And then after, that's one thing that I realized by being with you that, oh, the game is not over just because the result has been announced. Is that let's reflect, see what went well so that we can have a pat on the back and you have always been encouraging what went well so that you realize that these are your strengths, you keep doing it. And then, of course, gap is the biggest opportunity, you always say. So we keep filling those gaps. I think that's the whole process. And then people around you also get acclimatized. Family members knows, okay, this is his time. So, okay, let's give him that time and space to do it and extract the most out of it. I know it is a little long answer, but then it covers
No, I think
what my
you
journey is.
you are playing the game, and anybody who is in the game, it's good to learn from person who is in the game, right? But how has this helped in the real world?
A very intriguing question, and something which has a real time benefit. Mm, definitely. See, when I came in for coaching, primarily the focus and the area is public speaking, okay? Or you may say communication, effective communication. But then I realized that this public, it is much more beyond that. It is you as a person, because you are as great as a speaker, the kind of person that you are, right? I remember the quote. It says, like, if you want to write a book, you be the book. Yeah. So I think same with it. So this is a means now to go out and explore the whole world, right? And I cite few examples. See, we believe that public speaking, mostly people believe it is standing and speaking, or maybe in virtual world delivering on online. But I think the first principle of communication is to be a good listener. So I think I have found that I became more conscious of giving space to people to speak and listen to them deeply, even what they don't intend to say, or just like reading between the lines, because you have to be present there. And this requires, again, habit and a skill. I think that was way different. So improvement on the listening skills, which gave me more opportunity to connect, understand what the other person is saying, why is that person saying so. I think listening has been the forefront of that. The second benefit that I found is I could conserve a lot of my energy. Uh, just to give you an analogy, before we started this entire coaching exercise, it is like a substitute player entering into a football field. That substitute will go all over the place, because so much of energy they have to. But then coach will say, "Oh no, no, you have to play on the right. You are a midfielder. This is." Then you adjust and you start playing. You get that energy, right? So I think a lot of energy conservation is happening, and you speak consciously. You ask a lot of questions. In today's world, it's very important, the level of questions that you ask. You are able to collate information and get insights, right? And then the third thing on the communication piece is your heart to heart connect, that engagement. you know Instead of, it is about, it's not about it is still, because we want to impress upon, but I think it's more about expressing yourself rather than impressing. That is a big change. Yeah, yeah, if you're so, whether it is with family, you are at ease, you're listening to them, you are being with them. If you are with your team members who work with you, so you hear them out. And many of them have come back and told that, oh, this is a change that we are have seen.
So, so I think that I think it's quite contradictory, isn't it? When we say public speaking, we are talking about we speak, we have to speak like this, we have to speak like that. But then what I'm hearing from you is listening is as important as speaking, and it's I think it's one of the most underrated skills, honestly. And you put it in a nice way. I really. Uh, I'm really happy that that insight has come, right? And
Yeah,
we all will say, you have to listen, you have to listen, but to come as an insight and really consciously practice it is going to be a real game changer. And I picked this from one of our conversations, right, after the contest, and I found it like a reminder for me that when you were saying active listening, I felt That's really cool that you mentioned it as a very important
Yeah,
point.
yeah. I
So
think earlier it was more like sometimes you pretend to listen, right? Rather than actually listening. And then you're thinking, oh, what am I going to speak or what I'm going to ask? And especially if you are in a setup where the stakes are high, emotions run strong, which is like, a bit of a crucial conversation. I think more than active listening, I would like to use word deep listening.
deep listening. Okay.
Yeah, we heard about deep flakes and deep learning. I think this is the word for it.
I've not heard a deep work. I know one author had made it
Yeah.
famous, but deep listening, it's pretty cool. I think you should trademark this something. That's pretty cool. All right, so I think we will have a couple of more questions, and then we will call it a day. So what is that? See, I don't know if people understood your background. Sandeep is a learning and development veteran. So he is actually been in the industry of learning, development, training, has been a trainer. Um, so when it comes to learning and developing skills, how do you think people should approach? What's your simple mantra for people to go learn any skill they want, not just public speaking?
I must say, it's so wonderful that you had put this question in this discussion because the amount of massive accelerated change that we are seeing in and around us, and especially a few years back when we had this COVID thing, when everything is like flipped. I remember the companies were working to get everything touch, and then they were asked to make it touch less. Just imagine the change that has to happen in that short period, and we saw a lot that is happening. So I think it's very crucial to understand that how am I learning? What is my learning style? Because every individual has a different style. Somebody would like to listen and learn, somebody would like to see and learn, somebody would like to actually do it and then learn. And most of us learn with all these three styles. It's a mix, but then we have a predominant style. So I think the first thing is that assessing and identifying that what works for me, what is my style. That's one. The second is can I introduce something new in my learning methodology, which is learning how to learn. So for example, if I always been about reading a book and learning, then can I make it a little audio? So because we have different senses to learn, so can I activate my dormant senses to learn, right? So for example, if somebody is more individual about having very formal kind of learning, which is going through a book or completing a course, can I make a small little shift and try out a new style of learning, which is like on the job doing or taking a coaching from somebody or picking up an assignment which I have never been into an unknown area is something that is definitely going to accelerate our learning. Now, the third piece is that whatever I have learned, how much I am able to retain it and practice in my day-to-day work, because otherwise I will forget or it is of no use. So especially as the skills that we are talking, in terminology it is called soft skills, but personally if you ask me, I call them as power skills. It is communication, or is it to do with your interpersonal relationships, or it is about networking. All these are very, very powerful because that can open opportunity doors for opportunity for you. You can go out and grab it. So that's there. And lastly, it has to be continuous. It cannot be one burst and then just you leave it. Yeah, of course, we can do it in a bite-sized learning method on the in the work flow of work. While we are doing it, something comes by and let me give you an example. It's very interesting. Few days back, I went to an industry institute interface by a university, and all the professionals, of course, a lot of experienced professionals were called there from the corporate. And while I was about to move, I realized that I don't have a visiting card. Oh, I go to a networking event and you don't have a visiting card. What do you do, right? So then instantly I just Googled and I got instant visiting card, right? And what it did is generated a QR code. I just feed in. If you scan my QR code, once I show it to you, it will automatically get added in your phone directory. Your name, your email, and your company, and what you do, whatever information is there. I went to the event and people started talking and say, "Can I have a visiting card?" Yes, of course. I just took out my phone and the person is looking at me. Oh, what is this? And then say, "Oh, this looks very swanky." And he just scanned it, and then few said, "Oh, you come from a tech company, you are just flaunting." I said, "No, this problem has been there for a lot of while. The solution is already available. It is about embracing it."
Uh,
When I was pushed to the wall to embrace it, I did it. But I always had the opportunity to do it like a choice. It was always there, no harm. So I think, especially when we hear that AI thing, it's more about how do we embrace it.
I agree. That's very kind of you to share those thoughts. I think it skills are something we all have to learn as we navigate this volatile world. So it's been wonderful to hear them. So final uh, thoughts, Sandeep, for people and especially people are interested in communication and public speaking. So what if somebody has, I always stick to the fundamentals. So somebody is watching and they're afraid about public speaking or they're fearful, and they want to do well, right? Whether it's their work or whether it's their business, the entrepreneurs or even students. What is your one? Not even talking like three or five things. What's the one thing you would ask them to do?
Practice. There is no substitute to practice. And it's not that we know. I have realized it on my own. I spent 7 long years completing my PhD program in leadership communication. Of course, there was so much of learning and know-how that was there. But 7 years of reading, learning, researching, I know that would have not made me a good public speaker or good communicator. It's the practice. 7 months of coaching can definitely get you that there because you are in the environment, you are doing it consciously, you are getting the feedback and you are improved, right? And what we do in those practice arenas, which are very safe, you can do whatever you want and you will get the feedback and you always have a second chance to do it. And it just keeps building with practice. So I think the practice is key. I have Sachin Tendulkar as my role model, and a lot of cricket lovers across the sports lovers across the world has that. And the only thing he always emphasizes on what you do in the practice. In fact, I remember once he had an injury. He couldn't go out and practice, and then he just changed the whole game of practice. He said that, okay, I can't go and practice with my hands, but I can always go and practice with my legs, right? So let my legs be strong, you know. So there is always a way out for somebody to practice. I think practice is the key. Even if we lose practice for a few days, then we get rusty and then we have to do an all those attempt to come back again. So I think it is better for us that we keep practicing so you're always warmed up and moving up the ladder. And the whole world is the stage. So see, one of the interesting thing that coaching helped me is when we had this challenge of listening to the target speaker in the evaluation contest and take notes. So it was not only in the practice drill. So the thought that came across and we discussed was that every day in and day out we are interacting with so many people, right? Can we make sure that we listen carefully so that it becomes a habit? So we don't have to really apply ourselves to listen in that particular moment. And I think that was a revelation. You can practice all the day. Why do you practice only on that given slot, right? And it is working and it works. So uh, I You asked one thing, but that's the one thing. Uh, we heard practice makes you perfect, but I think the change with coaching, I would say, perfect practice makes you perfect, right? I think that's.
It's been, I think I learn as much as you learn, because when I'm saying something, I uh, have to be careful not to push you too hard. At the same time, uh, not just give you leeway as well. So it's been a great experience for me as well, and especially for someone like you who knows things, right? I mean, you've been a learning and development leader now, and it's been in the in this area for a while. So you know a lot of things, and probably you know everything what I'm telling you. It's just fine tuning where you need to improve upon, and just trying to stick to the plan, right? I think that that's been my goal, I would say, right? It's been a fun journey from my end as well, and it's always a pleasure um, to coach, and I find a lot of meaning in that way. So it's been a fun chat, Sandeep. I really happy that you agree to take this time out and add value in whatever way you can. So thank you, Sandeep. Have a lovely rest of the
Thank
day.
you, Rama. And this partnership and camaraderie is working, and I'm very sure we'll keep moving towards inching every day towards our goal and achieve the dream work that we uh, are working towards.
Awesome, and thank you. All the best for your finals. I know it's
Thank
gonna
you.
be. So thank you so much. All right, bye bye.
Okay.